In this chapter we will create the basic form of the lower modules. And we will start adding the controls with which we will set the length and width of these objects. Add the bound node. And we will increase its size. Lower and upper padding 0.01. Add a line and the match size node. In the first input connect the line, and in the second node bound. Activate scale to fit. In this way the line will have the same height as the box. Add carve node. With this node we will change the size of the line on the y-axis. Disable the first U parameter and enable second U. Add the match size node. In the first input connect the bound node, and in the second input, connect the carve node. Activate the scale to fit parameter and deactivate the X and Z axes. Add a line and change its direction. Add the match size node. In the first input connect the line, and in the second connect the bound node. Activate the scale to fit parameter. Add carve node. For the first U parameter we set the value 0.1. Add the match size node. In the first input connect the match size node, and in the second input, connect the carve node. Activate the scale to fit parameter and deactivate the Y and Z axes. In this way, we control the length of this geometry. And we will lower the geometry down. Next, we will use the tool created in the previous chapters. Add the group select node. We will select only one edge from the intersection of the Y and X axis. And controlling the parameters X and Y, we look for the intersection. We see that the selection has appeared, which means that the group was created on this line. Rename in EdgeUp. Add transform node. Select Group EdgeUp and translate the selection on the X-axis. No change is currently observed. Select Edge from here. And we see that the edge has moved. Add the match size node. In the first input, connect the line, and in the second input, connect the bound node. Activate the scale to fit parameter. Here select maximum. Create a copy of the carve node and connect it here. Next, we will add a box and reduce its size. And we will select 2 points using viewport. Add transform node. Click here and activate the point selection mode. Select the points and press enter. We will transfer them on the x-axis. Add copy to points node. Select the carve node and set the value to 0.4. Return to copy to points. Target points 0. Add merge node. And we will combine the result. Make a copy of the edge up node and connect the lower module node. Add poly bevel node. We will add a suffix here to differentiate this group. Distance 0.295 and division 7. Add the Boolean node, and we do some tests. Add the null node, and rename it in plane 1. And delete all the groups and attributes we don't need. Add Group Select node. Activate Group Primitive and select Y-axis. We will select the faces that are on the -Y-axis. Add Delete node. Select Group and Operation, delete non-selected. Add the Match Size node. In the first input connect the bound, and in the second input, connect the delete node. Here select None. Activate the Scale to Fit parameter. And we will disable the Scale Y parameter. We return to the Null node and add Delete node. Disable the Number parameter and enable Normal. Select Delete non-selected. Spread angle 20. Here at 0 and here -1. And we will combine these two nodes. Add Merge node. Next, we will add the Bound node and align. Add the Match Size node. In the first input connect the line, and in the second input, connect the bound. Activate the Scale to Fit parameter. Next, we will add the Carve node. For the Frist U parameter set the value 0.544. Add the Match Size node. Activate the Scale to Fit parameter. And disable parameters X and Z. With the Carve node we will control the height of this box. Add Group Select node. Activate YX parameter. And we will select the bottom edge. Rename the node in EdgeUp. Add polybevel node. Select group, EdgeUp. Distance, 0.2. Division 7. And adjust the distance parameter. Add the Boolean node and connect the match size and polybevel nodes. Add group select node. Activate YX parameter. And we will select the middle edge. Return to the polybevel node and create a reference copy. At the group parameter, delete the reference channels. And add this group. Add the Boolean node. In the first input, connect the panel 1, and in the second input, connect the polybevel. Add the transform node and move the pivot to the center of the geometry. With the help of this expression, $CEX, $CEY, and $CEZ. And here we add the value 1.2. Add the Boolean node. In the second input, connect the polybevel, and in the first input, connect the panel 1. To delete this artifact, we will increase the geometry dimension from the second input on the y-axis. Select the transform node and add the value 1.1 on the y-axis. Add the null node and rename it in lower module part 1. Copy it and connect it to the Boolean node. And at the end I will add a network box.